Up, guys? I'm Mark Fittante, your local Idaho realtor. Today, we're going to go into what it looks like to sell your house and buy a house at the same time. Most people, such as myself, have got one house, dude. Can't just sell our house and then be like, oh, well, I'll buy another one. But I understand, dude. Families grow. Maybe they go out and you need to downsize, upgrade, different areas. Things happen, but you want to stay in the same area and you're looking to sell your home and buy a new one in the same place. It's a lot simpler than it seems. I can understand the fear behind, what I can't be homeless and things like that. It makes total sense. So I'm going to bring you over here to this screen. I wanted to get into, yes, this is paint. Sorry. We're going to basically draw it out. Okay, that's how I like to explain it best I can. So we're making a couple boxes. So you want to sell your house, right? That's what it comes down to. How do you sell your house and buy a new house at the same time? There are a million different options and a million different ways to do it, but I've got one that I prefer. Okay, let's say you're going to use the proceeds from the sale of your house, whatever you make off it, you're going to use that as a down payment on your next house. Okay, and how does that work as far as that? You can do the same day at closing, and that's basically just the title company that sold your house gets the proceeds from that, pays the other title company whatever you make off that house. Okay. So if you do a same day, I understand most people need to move their things. This could stem off into a couple of different things. Do a same day closing. You obviously can't move in the same day, but usually you're entitled to the keys on the same day. The way to get around this is you can negotiate what would be called a rent back period, or you can just negotiate for a period of time that you get to stay after closing. You would be entitled to the keys on this day of closing. So a rent back period is basically you pay the new owner a certain amount of money, whatever you agreed to. It'll all be written up. Your realtor will take care of it and will show you the agreement and explain it and things like that. But a rent back period essentially allows you to live in the house for a certain amount of time and you just pay a certain amount to the current buyer. It might be an upfront fee, it might be a weekly fee. It depends how long you're going to stay there. If it's just a couple days because you're trying to get situated and get your stuff moved out, it's probably not that serious. It truly depends. Okay. Let's say you don't want to do the same day title. Okay. You can also do a similar thing as the rent back. So we are going to actually make this its own thing. Another option for the rent back will be right here. You rent it back until you can pay. So you give it a day. Okay. Another option, you can close on your current home, then do a rent back period, and then use the funds that you receive after closing on your home for the down payment on the new home. So it wouldn't be a same day closing. It would be, a day or two off, maybe 3, like it all depends. Okay. Now, here is what this all depends on. This is what it needs to do. These conditions will be written in your contract. Ensure your agent knows what he or she is doing so that they can write this in. Cool. So here is the contingencies that will make sure you are not homeless and you are not obligated to do anything and lose out on money. So when you make an offer on a new home, I typically advise my clients to wait until they receive an offer on their home. That way we have closing dates. We can show proof that we have an offer, that we have intention. We have a more competitive offer. Obviously, when the market slows down, that whole thing, it can go and you can just kind of make offers because sellers will be more obligated to accept it, pull their house off the market if it's been sitting for a bit. But you need to make sure it's contingent on the sale of your current home. If you make an offer on a house and your house is supposed to close on October 30th, and you make an offer on a home with the same closing day or a day after, what have you, and for some reason your home that you're selling falls through, it doesn't close, boom. With that contingency in place, you are able to make an addendum, change that closing date if you really want that home and you want to keep trying for it. If you want to take your earnest money and run and wait for another offer, then because the contingency is now broken, you can slash it, done with it. But it basically holds you not responsible if you aren't able to sell your home. You don't have to go through with the purchase that you can't make because your home didn't sell. Receiving an offer on your current home, this you will have to make sure your agent knows what they're doing, because you have to make it contingent on finding a suitable property. That's the most important part. If somebody makes an offer on your home and you don't have that contingency in place, then they can just buy your home. And if you don't close on the new house and there's no contingency in place, like, sorry, you should have done something. So I know this all looks complicated because I made it in a poorly presented paint thing. But to simplify it, if you want to sell your house and buy a house at the same time, the closing is going to either be a same day, or it's going to be a close on your current home, rent it back for a certain period of time, and then use the funds for closing on a new home. Either way, that leads to some form of rent back period, and that's what basically allows you to sell and buy at the same time. If you don't need to use a down payment from the sale of your house and you can qualify for 2 mortgages, then you don't even need to do a rent back and it doesn't really matter as much. But for the average person, we can't do that, and you need to get the funds from your house to qualify for the next house. And that's why you would do the same day closing, or the close on your current home and then rent back and then use the funds for a new home. But yeah, then when you write offers, it just makes sure it's contingent on the sale of your home and contingent on you finding a suitable property. I like to use finding a suitable property because that could mean several things. One, a suitable property is one that you can close on. So if you find one that you like, make an offer on it, inspection goes bad, you have to pull out of it, it's no longer a suitable property, right? So I like to use that wording because I can't say contingent on you buying a property, because if you need the funds from this house to buy the next house, you can't purchase another property. So your contingency would never be met. So if you use contingent on finding a suitable property, it's worded correctly in the fact that if something happens between the time you offer and the closing date where you can no longer close on the house, then it no longer becomes a suitable property. And thus, it releases you of liability to go through with that contract. I hope this video was helpful to anybody out there looking to sell and buy at the same time, downgrade, upgrades, what have you. If it was, please feel free to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe. If I can make any more videos for you guys like this one to help out, let me know. All right, thanks.